Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this quick Raw review. And there's quite a bit to talk about. I think the headline is that this episode was okay. It really didn't set the world on fire, but I think the opening was very interesting. Cody came out and said that there was a few things he said actually. He said it wasn't until he saw the presentation about the PowerPoint and how The Rock had made out that his family is better than everyone else's, that he knew what he needed to do. Now, this is interesting because that means that 2 days before that, when he sent that tweet out that said, "Trust me," that means he was still going to pick Seth. So when he tweeted out, "Trust me," that means he was still picking Seth. Because tonight on Raw, he said it wasn't until he saw the presentation that he knew what he had to do. He had to go against what he had decided. Now, obviously, WWE have been put in a difficult situation because I think The Rock asked a very good question during his social media rant. He said, "Why did Cody not speak to me backstage? You saw me backstage. You never mentioned to me backstage like that you had changed your mind. Like, why didn't you do that?" Cody's kind of been forced in a situation where he's got to say, well, to be honest, I was still going to allow you to have the match, really. Backstage at that press event, I was still going to allow you to have the match. But it's just crazy because 2 days before that, he's tweeted out, "Trust me." So, lesson learned, never trust Cody Rhodes, right? Never trust Cody Rhodes. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing as well was that he revealed what The Rock had said to him on the phone, right? And this is something that The Rock didn't say. The Rock said that, look, Cody, you've got an opportunity for the best, for the good of the business. We'll do it for Dusty. We'll do it for the Soul Man. You know, and Cody said, look, it stings, but I want what's best for the business, right? So that's what Rock said. What Cody said tonight was, apparently The Rock said to him on the phone, "People don't want you versus Roman." That jumped out at me. People don't want you versus Roman. Rock never revealed to us that he said that. So again, you know, Cody giving us a few little bits, not much, just a few little bits, a few little answers, which I thought were very interesting. And there was another moment, and I'm sure we'll look at this in Unseen later, where Seth did the hand gesture, right? He was just poking fun at The Rock. I mean, it's quite clear. Obviously, they know where the conversation is. But Seth just doing that at one point, just kind of making fun at whatever this situation is. So we'll have a look into that later during Unseen. I don't think it was Seth kind of showing that he is working with The Rock or anything like this. I just think it was him making fun of whatever this situation is. That's how I read it. There was Diarrhea Dwayne. Oh, I was worried about that. I really thought that had fallen flat. But the crowd took to it, and thank God they did. Because if the crowd hadn't chanted that, I think The Rock would have tore Seth apart. Because that really felt like a gamble. That really felt like a line that could have massively backfired. Diarrhea Dwayne is, you know, it's one of those that you go, oh, it's a bit preschool. It's a bit cringe. I think we all remember that big Billy Starks moment that Jericho had not long ago, where he tried a line and it just fell flat. I was worried this was going to fall flat. The crowd chanting diarrhea, I think, saved that, but it was risky. I also like the bit where Seth said, "I dare you to take the title away from me." So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what comes out of that. And I like the line as well. 21 minutes is a long time to listen to that idiot. I thought that was a good line. And he says that Diarrhea Dwayne hasn't been cool for 20 years. This was Seth. Obviously, Seth came out. Seth also revealed that he is now medically cleared. So he's 100% medically cleared. And then they both revealed that on SmackDown, Cody and Seth are going to be there, and they're going to have an answer to The Rock as to what's going to happen at WrestleMania. Obviously, we expect them to accept that tag team challenge. We totally expect that. And this just kind of really setting up SmackDown. This took quite a bit of time to work our way through. This opening segment got a good 20 odd minutes, but I wasn't bored. I found it very captivating, very compelling, and I can't wait to see what's next. So we got a few interesting answers here, a few cheeky little moments, a few cheeky little lines, a few moments of concern, but overall, I mean, I thought this delivered. So yeah, but for me, this was the highlight. Everything out of this just sort of, it didn't like crash or anything. It very much lulled, though. It certainly went down a couple of steps after this. So, yeah, we had these two in the ring. I think I'm going to call The Rock Diarrhea Dwayne. Can Dominik upset Intercontinental Champion Gunther? Find out right now on Raw. No. So Gunther with the victory, and I can tell you that our community scored it a good match, 45% good. So that one, it was okay. There was, it was not a bad little match, to be honest. A lot more engaging than I thought it was going to be. I love Gunther, but putting him in there with Dominik, I mean, that is a tricky one. It is kind of heel against heel. Here we've got an image of Rhea. She said, "It'll be tough, but I'll let you handle your business. I believe in you, Dom." So Rhea watching the action from a monitor backstage, which is kind of cool. Here, this is the match underway, and oh man, this commercial was awesome. Step into the story, the official launch trailer. They played this during the show a couple of times, actually. It was really, really good. Really, really good. So, as we said, Dominik ended up losing, and no shame in that. Then we went to Damage Control. So backstage, Damage Control arrived, and they said they were here to scout out Shayna and Zoey because they'd been making a lot of noise. And Shinsuke said he was also interested in competing for the IC title. That was interesting because there's already a lot of people involved in that. And of course, we would get our answers on that a little bit later. This led to Kayden and Katana against Shayna and Zoey. That match was 64% goods, right? So again, not bad. None of these matches really setting the world on fire, but holding their own. And Damage Control were watching. That then led to a confrontation, and we know that we're going to get a match next week. Kabuki Warriors against Zoey and Shayna. That should be pretty fun. Backstage, we saw that Gunther and JD appear to be on a collision course. JD McDonough. Dominik was getting treatments. Andrade actually popped in just to have a quick word with Dom. So feels like there's something happening there. And Dominik said, keep an eye on Andrade. Like, we might need him in the future. So that was kind of an interesting development. Up next, of course, was Becky and Nia. So obviously we're building towards this match at WrestleMania. Becky Nia, not bad. That got 65% good. 16% of people thought it was great. So nowhere near as good as their match earlier in the year. I thought that was a really good match. This was a little bit clunky in places. But, yeah, this was the leg drop, which I really thought Nia should have won with. She delivers this leg drop off the middle rope, connects, and Becky just gets her shoulder up. But it looks so good, I really thought that she should have won with that. And, of course, Liv getting involved, interrupting, causing drama. So Liv interrupting, costing Becky the match. Nia wins by DQ. And so Liv and Becky are facing next week. So that is going to be a very interesting match. I kind of like this story. I like Liv being involved. I think it's kind of interesting. I can't quite tell where it's going. Could be a triple threat. It could be that Liv is just next in line for the winner of Rhea and Becky. It could be that Liv faces the winner at, let's say, Backlash. That would make sense. Or it could be she gets in the match. But either way, I do like seeing a bit more of an edge from Liv. It's a bit more compelling. The many faces of Scrap Daddy, that's pretty fun. Yeah, and actually, after the match as well, did you see Nia beating that guy with his own hat? What was that about? Some dude seemed to say something. She grabbed his cap and started walloping with him, like hitting him with the cap. If that dude's not been planted there, like, she could get in serious trouble for that. Like, that's assault. So, I don't know, man. That was pretty wild. She just went off, started walloping this guy with his own cap. Right, there was the backstage segment with Becky and Liv after that moment. Andrade is next, and he had a match with Apollo. We actually got to see Apollo, which was crazy. Andrade had a new theme song, which I wasn't massively sold on. I think it would grow on me, but I wasn't massively sold on it, to be honest. But yeah, this next match, 65% good. Andrade, of course, getting the victory. Then we moved on and we got an announcement from Adam Pearce. So we know there's going to be a gauntlet match next week with the winner facing Gunther at WrestleMania. So next week, Sami will take on Ricochet. We'll take on Bronson Reed. We'll take on JD McDonough. We'll take on Chad Gable. We'll take on Shinsuke Nakamura. Those 6 men in a gauntlet match. Winner faces Gunther. Feels like it's got to be Chad. Feels like it's got to be Chad. There was a moment later where Chad confronted Gunther. Definitely feels like they're on the collision course. To Chad, it just means more. So I think everything's there for him to go to WrestleMania. So Andrade picked up right where he left off, earning a victory over Apollo. Backstage, we had this little moment where Natalya was like having a word with Tegan. Obviously, we saw Candice and Indy. Candice saying that she thinks they need to get a bit more of an attitude. She had a bit of a pop at Maxine as well. She basically said to Maxine, like, how many matches have you had? Like 4 matches. Like, you're not even worthy to lace up my boots. Which was kind of interesting. Certainly considering Maxine and the reaction she's been getting at house shows. So it feels like they're maybe leaning into that, which is maybe no bad thing. So that was the announcement. It's official. Then we got Imperium against Judgment Day. This was 54% goods. I think all of these matches coming out goods. And it was a win for Judgment Day. Not a bad match. Not a bad match, to be honest. And then we spoke about Paul Heyman going into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, that was mentioned earlier in the day. That was a great moment backstage. This little moment where Rhea and Io confronted each other. Rhea told Io to stay out of her territory. That was it. So a lovely little moment, this. Obviously, we know why Damage Control were there, but yeah, I did enjoy that. Yeah, the antler thing, I don't get it. This was a big talking point. People really enjoyed this. It's all over social media, as you would imagine. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it? Michael Cole going crazy about the antlers and those antlers being put onto his head. That was it. That's where we are. And his picture of him with his antlers all over social media. Didn't help Ivar, though. Sami Zayn picking up the victory. So Sami beating Ivar, 60% good was the rating for that one. Obviously, afterwards, Bronson Reed attacking. So I don't think that's setting up a feud. It may do, but I think it was more setting up the gauntlet match for next week. Seth Rollins is a junkie, says Drew. So an attention junkie. So Drew calling Seth an attention junkie. This was the Sami and Ivar match. As we said, it was a win for Sami, but Bronson attacking after. And then everyone talking about how great these glasses looked with the yeet written on them. They did look good. This was our main event tonight. It was going to be Drew against Jey. There's the image of Michael Cole in the antlers, which people were just going crazy for that. Obviously, 2K24 on the way. Lots of promotion for that. And next week, we've got the gauntlet match. We got Becky versus Liv. And we've got that Women's Tag Team Championship coming from Houston as well, the Toyota Center. Main event then. So Jey and Drew, this was pretty fun. And of course, it led to Jimmy getting involved. So Jimmy distracted. Drew managed to pick up the victory. And so then we saw Solo coming down as well. Cody came down to deal with Solo. Seth came down to deal with Jimmy. I mean, it was all kicking off. Drew came down to deal with Seth. So it was quite the melee at the very end. But yeah, that was it. That was, we got an image here of damage control. But more antlers. There we go. Look, Michael Cole has tweeted out, a boyhood dream has come true. That was 57 minutes ago. So yeah, that's how it ended. It came to an end with Drew standing over Seth, telling him to like not go forward with challenging the bloodline and to do the right thing. I feel like there was lots of little talking points, lots of little moments, things that did push stories forwards, but over 3 hours. And I would say after having easily the hottest part of the show at the very, very beginning and then everything kind of lulling after, it did sort of feel like this show sort of dragged a bit. So for me, out of 10, I think I'd be looking at giving this about a 6, maybe a 6.25. There wasn't really anything offensive. To me, this was not necessarily a bad show, but we've seen a lot better. And, you know, I mean, clearly SmackDown with Rock, Roman, Seth, Cody, clearly that's going to be where our attention needs to be. So, yeah, quick review-wise, I would give this a 6, maybe 6.25, but it doesn't matter. On we go with a big NXT roadblock tomorrow, or today, whenever you're watching this, and of course, everything setting up what should be and what promises to be a very, very big SmackDown. That should be unmissable. Right, thanks a lot for watching. I'm off to work on Unseen. Appreciate the support as always. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.